Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Brandon from Audio Addiction. Thank you for joining me at this very late hour. I imagine some of my international fam are up. Probably more specifically, the Australian fam I know is up for sure. UK, Europe, they might be up, but yeah, I'm very excited. We are going to get into Veil of Maya's newest album, Mother, which comes out today. You can check the links below if you'd like to pick it up. I feel like I have to share my beverage of choice, which is this coconut pineapple seltzer water. No, I'm not drinking. That is a whole nother topic of discussion that I don't have time to delve into. But very excited to get into this. I have listened to all of the singles for the most part. I think the only one I didn't listen to was Mother Part 4. I think that was pretty much the only one I didn't listen to. But all of the other ones I have heard. I think I did a reaction video to Red Fur, but it just never got edited and posted. And then Synthwave Vegan, I don't think I did. I think actually the only reaction video I did was for Godhead, I'm pretty sure. Which is a little weird because normally I'm a little bit better at that than what I lead on to be. So, but anyway, if you are joining me live, thank you for that. I hope you're gonna have a good time and enjoy this. As my stream is having an incompletely hard time loading up here, I'm just gonna jump out and jump back in. That's gonna be easier. But guys, we are going to get into the first song. This one is called Tokyo Chainsaw. I have not listened to this one. Like I said, the only ones I really have listened to was Godhead, Red Fur, and Synthwave Vegan. Mother Part 4 I did not listen to, but I'm excited to get into it nonetheless. So let's get into the first track, Tokyo Chainsaw. Oh, this grooves. Oh, I love Mark Akubo, goated, man. This riff's so sick. This is insane. Guys, that was the first track, Tokyo Chainsaw, off of Veil of Maya's newest album, Mother. Check the links in the description, but did they start this album off with an insane track. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. You know what, to be 100% fair, I kind of felt like I knew this was coming in some way, just because I know with Godhead as well as Synthwave Vegan, I know that they can definitely write obviously they can write great heavy tracks. Same with Red Fur. I also really enjoyed Red Fur, and I think my comment on that song was like, I think I've grown to really love Lucas's clean vocals. I felt like with the first album, Matriarch, which he was a part of, I was like, okay, like we're getting there. Like he's definitely a good fit for the band, but like I wanted to kind of see how he would cut his teeth. And then we got, False Idol, and I was like, chef's kiss. I had went back and re-listened to that album probably about like a little less than a week ago now, and I just remembered how much I enjoyed and just loved that album so much. So it was good to revisit that just before this album. And I did kind of listen to some of the other singles that I really just absolutely adore, and then getting more kind of acquainted with some of the singles that were out. But my god, man, this, just to start off the album, is just pure brutality. Literally no holds bar. As soon as this song starts, you just get eviscerated, So if I feel like if people waited for the album to come out and they had not listened to any of the singles, this is just going to be a perfect introduction to this album. I'm curious how heavy they're going to go. Just because, like I said, with Godhead and Synthwave Vegan, those were definitely heavier tracks to start off the album with, as singles. So I'm just curious if everything else is going to be heavier. I was hoping for a little bit more singing, but I totally get the concept of like just giving just the dumbest Oonga Boonga riffs, and I think the gent is real. I know everybody can cringe in the chat about that, but I do feel like, man, the the way that the BPM in this track is just nuts. Like the drumming on this is incredible. Their drummer is amazing. But I just love Marco Kubo. He's like probably one of my favorite guitar players. He always comes up with some like really just interesting riffs. And while this one I don't feel like is too crazy in the sense of like, okay, like I probably couldn't write this, right? But I think he like makes some riffs like super approachable. Like you listen to it and you're like, this is kind of sick, right? The one song that I think about like all the time riff wise that I really love, and I don't know if it's really necessarily complicated at all, but I just love Pool Spray. That song just chef's kiss. You know, the riff on that super tight, and I kind of felt very similarly to that thought process as I do with Tokyo Chainsaw, where I was just like, this seems like in theory, guys, in theory, that this is gonna be like a pretty, you know, simple song to kind of like, it's a lot of just like chugs and like palm mutes, but there's just something about it that just lines up with the rhythm super well, and I absolutely love that. But also at the same point, you know, getting a little bends in there, you know, keeping the riffs a little fun, and I just thought this one was a great energy to start off the track. But I gotta say, save the best for last here. I think Lucas has such a great tonality scream wise in this track. There were some really low lows that I felt like in previous material he hasn't really kind of delved into as much. So it was nice to hear that again, that low end just like rumble. And I think he absolutely crushed this song. Would I have wished for some more cleans? Probably, but I think overall it was really good and just brings out the energy of the album. So can't go wrong with that. You definitely love to see it, and I would say arguably a great song to start off the album with. So we are going to move it on to track 2, which is Artificial Dose. So let's give that a listen. I won't ever let go. All right, yeah, this is what I was missing. All right, they're getting a build up. All right. All right. Oh, that was great. I love that, guys. Track 2, Artificial Dose. This is what I was looking for, you know, like this is what I have been waiting for in terms of, you know, a Veil of Maya track. I think they've always done a really good job of incorporating those cleans and screams within a track, and I think Lucas, you know, I feel like he's a fine wine. You know, he has only gotten better with age. And I know between the time frame of False Idol and this album was a much longer period of time. So I just feel like you know, he went into the studio and just kind of like, he just really just tried to do the best possible job he could do. And I think that as much as I'm sure most of us did not like to wait such a long period of time for this album, I actually kind of appreciate the fact that they didn't want to release something that they didn't put their heart and soul into it. You know, not to say that some of the other songs that they didn't love at all, because you know, everybody, I feel like to some degree loves all of their music, you know, why put it out? Certainly. But I just think that all of the songs that have been released thus far have just been really articulate. You know, I think that they have really kind of tried to hone in on their sound and really try to figure out what suits Lucas the best and what kind of works for the band to not only seem still technically savvy, but still kind of having like big choruses, big hooks. And I think they thus far have found a really good, you know, a really good pocket. And I'm hoping that the rest of this album really just further extends my point on how well they hit that pocket super well. So I'm, again, just immensely excited to dive into some of the songs that I have not listened to. I also appreciate that just like really kind of synth electronic layering going on in this track. I know it was also present in Tokyo Chainsaw, but I felt like this one was a little bit, had more of a crucial role to it, especially in the chorus portion of the song. just really tight. I think it really meshes well with like Lucas's big, powerful vocals in that section, and just it just livens it up. It just I think it also gives like a level of fullness to Lucas as well in regards to his clean singing. Um, I think the just heavy dumb riffs were very apparent in this song as well. But I think it was meshed up well with just like more of an appreciation for like those big choruses. You know, I think this was a good middle ground after listening to Tokyo Chainsaw, which was just eviscerating in that way. I think this one still had those sorts of qualities to it, but I would say it's, you know, I think it was reeled back a little bit just because there's clean singing, which I'm totally cool with. As I had mentioned, I really loved Red Fur because of the clean singing as well as the screaming. So to kind of get that the counterpoints is really nice, and so I think Artificial Dose does a very good job of both of those things, as well as that musically very fun if you just are in love with drumming. I think this is another great track for all you drummer heads out there. As well as the guitar riffs were super big, especially in that chorus where I think you allow those chords to ring out a little bit more. Just was really, really tight. And I think everything kind of collectively, was just going well in unison. So definitely Artificial Dose. I think a great follow up to Tokyo Chainsaw. And yeah, I've just been real impressed thus far. But we are going to get into track number 3, which is Godhead. If you haven't listened to this one, I'm just going to fair warn you, it is a heavy one. So I hope you're ready. But let's get into Godhead right now. Oh, so sick. Oh, man. All right, guys, that was track 3, Godhead, off of Veil of Maya's newest track, Mother, or album, Mother. Track is Godhead. Get that right. Anyway, you can check the links in the description if you would like to pick up Mother on vinyl, CD. I think they have cassettes too, which is kind of crazy. So any medium you can think of. Also streaming. If you want to stream it, that will also be down there as well. But I have not listened to Godhead since the reaction, and I kind of feel like I should have probably listened to this one beforehand because I forgot how riffy this one was. I think very similarly to both Tokyo Chainsaw as well as Synthwave Vegan, riff central. Let me just tell you, man. God, some of these riffs were just like they don't like the craziest thing is like it's probably not like as crazy as it is, but I think in like like if you look at it from maybe like sheet music or like tabs or whatever, you're like, okay, this is like basically just like a bunch of like bends pretty much, and then obviously like scratches and stuff and fun shit on the guitar, but also at the same point I think it just mashes up so well with the drumming. Like I think they're just so in tune together, same with their bass player. Like collectively, like the instrumentation is so on lock with this song, and I think that the fact that they just all work so well in unison, where like again, where there's a kind of maybe a more bigger like dropout moment, like the bass just kind of dissipates with like just a large like just bass ring out, and then the guitars just have like this really cool like again bends and like pulls and shit. Anything that Mark Akubo does is just insane. But yeah, it has that kind of variation to it, which I think is really sick. And then just to hear Lucas on top just like screaming his absolute face off, like you gotta love it. And I think this was the first indicator, at least for me, along with Synthwave Vegan, that he has just improved so much. And I know Synthwave Vegan came out well before this album probably was, I don't want to say in the works because I think they have been working on it for a while, but I think that like Synthwave Vegan was a good starter point. It's like that dumb like metaphor where like Synthwave Vegan walked so that Godhead could run. Like I feel like that's kind of like the thought process that I have behind it, because like, and I think I've very similarly made a comment like that in my reaction video where I think that Synthwave Vegan is a great song. I love it. I go back and listen to that one pretty frequently, but it also kind of, again, has that sort of like kind of syncopated riff styling that Godhead has as well. So listen, I'm not gonna complain. I love a stupid dumb riff just as much as everybody else does. But yeah, this one was another heavy one. I think they've done a pretty good job of switching them up thus far. But I think getting into like Reconnect, re-listening to Red Fur again, Disco Kill Party, Mother Part 4, like I'm excited to listen to some of the other ones that like weren't the singles. So Godhead, great track if you're looking for like the big riffs and just like again, oh the syncopation in this track is so tight. So I really enjoy Godhead. And I again thoroughly forgot how much I enjoy this track. So great one. If you're into the like gym stuff like I am now, this is the one to add to the playlist. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into track 4. This one's Reconnect. Oh my god, that riff was nuts! Ooh. This chorus is sick. Let's go. This song's awesome. Best one yet, I'd say. That riff, man. That was Reconnect. Man, this track was, I would say, probably the best one yet. The best one we've heard yet. I really, really love this one. No pun intended, I connected with this one pretty quickly. I'm almost positive, if my memory serves me correct, I'm pretty sure that this guitar riff was the guitar riff that Mark had on his Instagram profile, that he was like, oh, like I'm finally gonna be able to use this riff. If someone could fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure this is the riff, because I remember watching like a clip of this and I was like, bro, like what the fuck, like, and I love the way that it just kind of integrates so well in this song. The actual riff itself, like, is insane. Like, don't get me wrong, it's such an incredible riff, but I think also the fact that I know another artist does this pretty similarly, which would be Pliny. Like Pliny does that, like that real like fluttery guitar like riff sort of stuff, but then it's also like meshed up well with like, I don't know if it's like piano or like synth, or it's like midied out where like the melody of the guitar matches up with the melody of whatever the MIDI patch is, I think. And so I think really, again, what kind of worked out between all of those things was the fact that like that MIDI works so well with that guitar riff, and that was really kind of what in my head triggered all of those really cool nuanced things about this song. As well as that, I think very similarly to Artificial Dose, this has a great mix of both cleans and screams. I love the fact that I think with Lucas's clean singing, I appreciate the fact that he is pushing himself in this song. Like you can hear there's a lot of like vocal, I don't want to say like hoops to jump through necessarily, but I feel like there's a lot of musical like push and prowess that he has in writing some of these songs like vocally, and I think that this one has been probably the best representation thus far of his clean singing ability, but also his screaming ability as well. So really appreciate that as much as I also love the guitar riff that Mark brought to the table with this track. Their drumming is super insane. Like again, I know I keep saying it, but truly, like, very much similarly to how much I love False Idol, I think like their drummer is just chef's kiss. Like he really knows how to just lay down some insane drumming parts with like the heavier stuff, but then also at the same point really know how to like open it up and allow the song to kind of like speak for itself in that way. So I appreciate kind of the juxtaposition, or like I guess more so the attention to detail within the song. Like, very easily he could just go off and just go ape shit on the drums, right? But that wouldn't really benefit the song in any way. So I appreciate the fact that there are some spurts where it's just like, oh, that's some like insane like talent that I feel like would go unnoticed by most people. But also in the same vein, it's like, okay, where he keeps kind of more in tune with where the song's going, you get to appreciate it more because it just blends in super well with the track. So I got to give them a lot of kudos, as well as their bass player, like having to try to keep up with not only their drummer but also obviously Mark and their guitar player. I wouldn't even know what to think, to be quite honest with you. So for someone to have that type of talent, um, regardless of regardless of the circumstances, is insane. And I feel like I have to like wiki it so I don't look like an idiot, and I also want to be able to pay credit to who it is. So Danny Hauser, he's been with the band since 2010. So him and Mark and Sam, their drummer, are kind of the OGs. But yeah, I just love that. I think again, I give a salute to Danny, man. He is just crushing it. So big love to Danny. As well as that, just everybody's in sync. I just think they're just absolutely crushing it. And I think this one felt like everybody had their moment to kind of shine within the track, but not take away from anything. So reconnect. If you have a chance to listen to that song, would highly recommend it. So we are going to move it on to the next track, which is Red Fur. This was a reaction video I did. I don't know if I ever edited it to post. Maybe I might do that in the past. Maybe I'll do it after this. I don't know. But yeah, I really enjoyed the music video, and I really enjoyed this song. But I have not listened to it since the reaction. So let's give this bad boy a listen. I forgot how much I love this song. I remember just absolutely like listening to this song. A lot stronger of an electronic influence as well too. God, I forgot how much I love this song. If you're just tuning in, this was track 5, Red Fur, off of Veil of Maya's newest track / album, Mother. I don't know why I said slash. This song is not the the title track. However, I love this song. When I did the reaction video, I would say about a month or two ago, I really fell in love with the song, and I just remember listening to it every opportunity that I had a chance to. So I feel like it just very similarly to a comment I made earlier, it just gets better with time. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It was good to hear this one, especially after, again, Synthwave Vegan and Godhead. I wasn't really entirely sure if there were actually going to be any clean singing, to be quite fair. I mean, I feel like, there is and there was, and obviously there are, clean singing on this album so far, but I really felt like they were just going to go a lot heavier, and so I was a little bit concerned in that aspect just because this felt like a one-off song. So I guess we'll find out if whether or not it's a one-off song or not, because I have not listened to Mother Part 4 yet. But I can confirm it, is not extreme. It's not entirely a screaming album, but I do feel like obviously there's a larger focus on that. This song, however, feels like it flips the script. Most of the song has clean singing in it. But I think that's kind of what I really enjoy about this song the most is just the clean singing. I think, those long passages that Lucas just is singing, his vocals just have a sense of flow to it that I just really adore. He's somebody that I try to practice vocals on. I've been really trying to get my vocal games going, and I've been watching a lot of his vocal technique videos and stuff. So I just love his just melodic take on this song specifically, and very similarly maybe to Artificial Dose, and maybe and as well as Reconnect. This one has a lot more clean singing in it. I would say a majority. I would say there definitely is screaming, but I would probably maybe like 60/40. If I'm being really generous, I'd probably say like 70/30. But I really think that this one just shines super well because you got those moments where you got the riffy, fun, bouncy Veil of Maya, but then you got those really big soaring choruses. And I think that, Lucas really helms the boat on this song specifically. And I absolutely love that. There were some really incredible Marco Kubo riffs, especially in that second verse. Really like that a lot. Such a fun track. But yeah, overall, but this one's probably was one of my favorites as a single, and I think that I'll have to, obviously we'll be getting into Disco Kill Party, so I'll have to kind of let you know how I feel on the tracks as a whole, how this one kind of stacks up with the rest of them. But I think this was a strong song as a single, and I think it's as equally as strong as a song on this album as well. Just love the kind of, again, more attention to the detail when it comes to the electronic elements in this album. I think they really kind of honed in on that sound too. I know that's always been kind of an integral part of Veil of Maya, but I think they really have been trying to focus more on adding synths, adding more layering, especially at that beginning part. I wasn't really entirely sure how this song was going to go in hindsight, but obviously it worked out very well. So all the bands hitting on all engines on this one. So really enjoyed this one. Fun track. I think it's a song that not only can you mosh to, but you can also sing along to. So I think that is a good combination if you ask me. So we are going to move it on to track 6, which is Disco Kill Party. So interesting. Ooh. Ooh, that layered vocals. All right. That electronic elements is. Oh, I like this. Real glitchy. Sick. All right. Oh, that was awesome. All right, guys. If you're just tuning in, this was track 6, Disco Kill Party. I thought this one was awesome. I really enjoyed the more like the little bit of like breakbeat. It was really tight. I like the more like chip tune. Maybe like a little borderline like hyperpop kind of sound. I really do appreciate that. It's crazy how much hyperpop has kind of bled into like not only like heavy music, but just like the alternative scene as a whole, so that is very interesting. And obviously I don't want to say I feel like I'm surprised, just because like there's been a lot of electronic influence in this album thus far, but it was nice to hear a little bit different, like again that breakbeat hyper pop kind of sound. I think it works well with their just like insane techie riffs. So I think this was a good amalgamation of like the electronic elements mixing well with the instrumentation. Not to say that I feel like the other songs didn't really work well, but just with the kind of like glitchy, like the like chugs and riffs, it just works really well with more of those syncopated, more technical breakdowns. I also think that Lucas sounds fantastic on this song as well. I really like the layered vocals in this song specifically, especially in that chorus. You could really hear some like high falsetto or like very high like head voice. Like it was very much up there. So I definitely like that, and I think you can definitely piecemeal it a little bit better. I don't know how well it would work in like a car stereo, but I feel like with my like headphones on, you definitely pick that out a little bit more. So I'll have to let you know tomorrow when I inevitably put this whole album on on my phone. But I really, really dug this one a lot. I think the riffs are super tight. Everything was like aggressive enough, but not like too crazy. I think this one had a really good mix of both the cleans and the screams, which is always nice. Like I said earlier with the song that preceded it, Red Fur, I was just a little bit nervous on how well they were going to not only integrate the clean singing still, but I thought possibly by chance that they would just stop doing clean singing entirely, which I know seems a little bit crazy in hindsight now talking about it and listening to a song that has clean singing on it. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. Fun listen. I think this is a song specifically that I feel like if I go back and listen to it, there might be some things that I didn't necessarily pick up on the first time around. That I feel like there's some maybe like nuanced stuff that I hadn't really like thoroughly thought of. So I'll have to go back and listen to this one. And again, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of mileage out of this record. If you are watching this live and you have listened to the album already, let me know what your favorites are. If not, then feel free to stick around and Let me know what your thoughts on the album are so far. I'd really like to know. But this one was a fun one. Great mix of electronics, but also that tried and true Veil of Maya sound right now. So good one to start off with if you haven't given it a listen yet. But yeah, super tight. We are going to move it on to track 7, which is Mother Part 4, which I find a little bit strange. I don't know if they had like a Mother Part 1 through 3, to my knowledge. So it'd be very curious to know if why they named it Mother Part 4. But either way, this is the longest song on the album, so this is going to be very interesting. So let's give it a listen. Ooh, I like this arpeggiated riff. This one is very much leaning into that like synth. Ooh, interesting vocal effect. It kind of makes him sound super nasally, which I think is hilarious. Rips are nuts. I love that the drums and bass open up in this track. That's sick. All right, guys, if you're just tuning in, this is track 7, Mother Part 4, off of Veil of Maya's newest album, Mother. You can check the links below if you'd like to go pick it up. Please do. I feel like these guys have been waiting a long time to release this. In fact, I have the wiki up, so I might as well take a look and see when the last album came out. So, False Idols came out in 2017, which would place it at around 5 years, I'm pretty sure, if my math is correct. Again, it is past midnight, so my brain is going into the Windows boot. I'm dying. But yeah, 5 years, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive on that. Which is insane that it's been 5 years since since False Idol. But I think this one, being the longest song, can come with some caveats, and I think that they did a fantastic job of addressing them first and foremost. The song being 5 minutes long doesn't feel like 5 minutes. I'll tell you what, like, I was thoroughly enjoying my time throughout this song, and not at one point that I feel like, yeah, this is a little too much. They could have cut off like a minute of this song, and I would have been set. I think it's played up very well, especially towards the beginning of the song. That really interesting arpeggiated synth line really hooks you in immediately, and then it's filled with some more synth work, which is really nice. And then to follow that up, I appreciate that the fact that the beginning portion of the song is just synth and Lucas. I think that that was really cool and definitely a change up from previous work that they've done. I think I feel like there was a little bit more space and a little bit more time within this song to allow for those cool moments to kind of appear within the song. So I appreciate that. Then it gets super heavy. The chorus is really anthemic, and I think I really enjoyed that a lot. But I would say the synth work was probably my favorite part of this song, just because I think the way that it not only made its way into the beginning of the song, but also makes it into some of the guitar riffs that Mark writes, some of the openness of the bridge. Same with the ending of the song. Obviously, ending it the same way that it started was a really nice callback to the beginning of the track. I also really enjoyed that bridge portion of the song, as I mentioned in the video a little bit earlier. I just love the fact that like the guitar playing was just really, again, really straightforward and just like a lot of just like alternate picking, while like the drums and the bass kind of drop out and just offer this sort of like space to the song. So I think that like I think that ingeniously was really smart, and I think it makes that bridge portion of the song really stand out that much more comparatively to the verses or the choruses. And that's not to say that those parts I don't love either. I just think this is a very well-rounded track that really takes into account for the song being 5 minutes and 12 seconds long. It does account for that time frame. So I appreciate the fact that not only did they think about that, but also really cognitively think about, okay, this person is going to have to listen to this song for 5 minutes. What's going to keep them entertained, or what's going to keep them, coming back and listening to this track. So I think they did a great job of that. And just, again, really fun, riffy track, but also plays well with the synth, and just almost in a way is very integrated because the guitar riff I think is kind of a subset of that synth line. That's arpeggiated synth line. So really enjoyed this one a lot. I'm kind of I feel like a little bit of a dummy for not checking this one out before the album drop because I think I would have really enjoyed this one. And I don't think I would think I would have a little bit less apprehensive that Lucas wouldn't be singing on this album because I would say he sings a fair bit. I would probably, if comparatively to their previous album, I would say it's pretty close. I think they did a really good job again of having those dumb heavy songs, but then having stuff that's just a little bit more melodic bass. And I think that this one kind of covers all of the bases where it does have some screaming, does have some clean singing, and I would say a large majority of the songs off this album do have that, with maybe the exception of a few, certainly. Obviously, Synthwave Vegan, Godhead, Tokyo Chainsaw, those kind of all have that just screaming straight up. But there's a lot of songs with clean singing on it, so I'm very much appreciative of that. So speaking about dumb heavy songs, we are going to move it into the next track, which is track 8, Synthwave Vegan. I'm curious if they changed anything up from the just standalone single. I don't believe so because why would they? But we are going to get into Synthwave Vegan nonetheless right now. I forgot how. Actually, I didn't forget how good this song was because I listen to this all the time at the gym when I'm about to just lift something stupid heavy. Guys, this is track 8. This is Synthwave Vegan. This one's been out for a little bit, so if you haven't listened to this one, welcome to the club. But that wasn't. I'm sorry if that offended you. I'm sorry. I really love this one. As soon as it came out, I was really involved with how much it was just a part of Veil of Maya now. I was curious if they were going to include this on an album because I feel like some of the other songs, like off the record, like Outsider, Members Only, Viscera, Outrun, like those weren't a part of the album. So it was very interesting to know that Synthwave Vegan was going to be on the album because it definitely predated a lot of these songs super far out. So I'm curious as to why they threw it on because Godhead's here, and not that I don't love Synthwave Vegan, I still love it, but this was before what I knew was going to be on the album. But I digress. I'm making a non-point for no reason, but again, if you just like the dumb oonga boonga riffs, then this one is the one for you. This is like, again, just the greatest counterpart to Godhead in that way, where this one is just as equally as aggressive and just fun, riff wise, just super bouncy, really electric in that way. Obviously, I was just having a good time pitting in my room at 1 a.m., but by myself. But I really just rock with this one. Nothing too crazy right home about, like, again, just very heavy. I think this one does a really great job of I think this really does a great job of kind of just being a absolutely crushing song, very similarly to Godhead. I just think it's a fantastic riff centric track that is just fun. I don't know. I just get super hyped whenever I listen to this song, just again, because it motivates me to like just go hit my PR, you know? So I really dig this one. Jared's in the chat. Big salutes. Shout outs to Jared. Love this dude. He says, trying to listen to this. All I have living rent free in my head is the lyrics to Gaia. So I know, man. I will say I have been just, side tangent, guys. If you have not checked out my live video of Current's newest album, you can go check that out after this one because that'd be really sick. And my homie Jared was a part of it, so hey, listen, that's two good things that you could be cool and be a part of, and it was great. So big salutes. The Death We Seek. It was awesome. But yeah, I think this one was, again, very stupid, heavy song that just works well. in the context of the album. I don't feel like it is overshadowed by Godhead because I think they're both heavy in a different way that doesn't like kind of cross over. So I appreciate that. But yeah, Synthwave Vegan vibes. Really dig this one. If you like the dumb riffs, then this one's about this one. You should be about 100%. I'd be surprised if you hadn't given this one a listen. But we are going to move it on to track 9, which is Lost Creator. So let's give this one a listen. All right. I like this like deep bass, like synth. Oh my god! All right, doing their best going to short here. All right. Oh, this was sick. I've been really digging like more of this synth integration in this. This is really sick. Yeah, I know. It's all right. We're gonna pause here. Well, we gotta talk about the song anyway, so it works out. I really dig this one a lot. I think this one had moments of their song from the previous album. I think it's "Follow Me," where like they just had like more of that like metal sort of start off with the song, which I really do appreciate. I think they do a really great job of that sort of sound. I also feel like it kind of pays homage to like older Veil of Maya stuff. So really appreciate that. I think that's really cool in and of itself. But just I think this one just shows off their pure strength as a band. I don't think any other song, particularly right now, has done just their pure like skill as a band. I think not only is Sam crushing it on the drums, like I think some of the double bass line, the blast beats, insane. Danny's bass playing is absolutely insane as well. And then again, Mark's side of things, not only doing the guitar work, but also very similarly, I'd imagine, to False Idol. I think he might have always also done the production on this song as well too, or this album more specifically. So I think that this one absolutely just crushes. I think again it harkens back to old. So if you are an older Veil of Maya fan, then I think you're probably gonna enjoy this one a lot. But yeah, just aggressive, heavy. I also think this does a great job of showing off of what Lucas's skill is as a vocalist. Just especially more so in the screaming department. Not that I feel like we really needed something like that, because I think there definitely are moments where you're like, okay, I get it. Like he's a vocalist, like it makes sense. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed this one. I think this one harkens back to old, but I'd also say it harken back to Follow Me from their previous album, False Idol. So also really enjoyed that as well. But we are going to get into the last track. Sadly enough to say, let me know what your favorites are down in the comments section below. But this last song is called Death Runner. So let's give it a listen before I get DMCA'd or something. I don't know. Lucas is sounding nuts. I'll tell you what. These last two songs have proven that. Ooh. I like that the synth matches up with his bends on the opposite end. It's like a beer. Guys, this was the last track, Death Runner, off of Veil of Maya's newest album, Mother. You can check the links in the description to go pick it up. But, woo, this one was a riff one. Very similarly to, I would say, arguably the entire record. I think there was some really cool, like, musical cues. I think that last breakdown really does a good job of surmising that, where as Mark kind of does the bends, the synth also does bends, but like I think it's pitch shifted up, if I'm not mistaken. So really like that. It's just those little attention to detail things that I feel like my like very like nuanced brain kind of picks up sometimes. You get a little lucky, you get to hear things that are just like you're like, oh, that's cool, I like that, it's matching up with the guitars, that's like really insane. So I appreciate that attention to detail. I think Mark always has some really fun and inventive riffs. So I love that. As well as that, Lucas sounds fantastic on this track. I think very similarly to my comments on Lost Creator. I think that he does a great job of his screaming. Like I think that with each album, he has become such a more attuned vocalist in that way, where I think his screaming has gotten so much better, but equally as well, I think his clean singing has gotten better as well too. So it's a nice to know that like his skills as an artist has just continued to evolve and change over the years. And obviously, as I mentioned before, False Idol was released in 2017, so I mean, they had like a good 5 years to really work on this album, and I think it has shown how much has changed with their band and how much continues to evolve and change with what they do. The only thing that I think was really kind of remiss about this track is that I was a little surprised that there was more like heavier songs on this album comparatively to False Idol. I mean, I think False Idol maybe had like another handful to more like clean songs, but or like clean scream songs, and I just felt like thus far like the last three songs are just all screaming, which is nice. I like it. But I definitely like Lucas's clean vocals, as I have mentioned probably a lot throughout this review. Is that I really think he's got great clean tones as well. So I was very surprised to see probably a lack of clean singing. But I think that he more than made up for it with just his abilities as a screamer. I think even from the jump from False Idol to this album, he has just become more of a powerhouse in the screaming department, and I think that I think this album really showed off his skills as a screamer more so than I think as a clean singer. So really appreciate that. I think this song. Rounds out the album in such a nice way too. I think it combines a lot of those heavier elements found throughout this record. I would say there's a lot more attention to detail when it comes to the synth writing, whether it be just kind of like the synths as a whole or just kind of the integration of synth within the guitar work or maybe the bass work or the drumming. I think it really culminates in a song like this, and then also as well as that, I think it just goes to show or highlight some of those big moments that you can hear on this album. So really appreciate that, and I think that that's something that I hope doesn't go unnoticed with this album, those just little attention to detail things, because it's very easily you could be overlooked by like screaming or vocals, and I think there's a lot more nuanced stuff that I probably didn't even pick out in this album. So really enjoyed this one. I think probably some of my favorites would be I really enjoyed Red Fur. I enjoyed Mother Part 4. I would say Reconnect. I would probably put I'd probably put this last song, Death Runner, on there. And I really enjoyed Disco Kill Party. I thought that one was really good as well. So I'd probably say those are my top five, even though I really don't have like them in any particular order. I thought Disco Kill Party was probably the most inventive when it came down to like the synth work. Just because I think there was a lot more hyperpop elements and just like an overall rehaul of like some of the synth work in this album. So overall, really heavy, really aggressive. I think this one definitely requires multiple listens and just kind of investing yourself. I probably will be listening to this album a ton at the gym just because it feels like a gym record. It has that heaviness, that je ne sais quoi, as they say. So I really appreciate that. But yeah, overall, great album. I picked my favorites, but if you are watching this in the past, let me know in the comments what your favorite songs are. Hopefully, this does not get flagged in any. Well, I know it'll probably get flagged for something, but I hope it does not get blocked. That would be my main concern. If not, then you'll probably see the re-upload of this without the songs in it and just me giving my thoughts on the album as a whole. So thank you for watching. If you did make it through the entire video, much love to you. I hope to see you in an upcoming live reaction video. I think I have a couple more that I'm working on or that I plan on doing. Next week, we're doing Sleep Token. I have two lovely guests that I have on. My best friends, Jared, who showed up in the chat here earlier today or tonight, more specifically, and my other best bud, Daryl. They both equally love Sleep Token, if not probably more than me. So that's a hard bargain to find. So very excited for all three of us to delve into that album. So once this is all good to go, then I will probably be working on a thumbnail for that. So come hang out. It's going to be very similar to this. We're going to be listening to it at midnight. So please join us, and very, very stoked to get into new Sleep Token. It's going to be fun. So I'm very excited. And I still have a few other albums that I want to catch up on. So if you do have any other suggestions for albums you'd like me to do live, drop them in the comments as well. Would love to know what you think. But thank you for watching. Love seeing you here in the vids. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Have a good night, guys, or day, whatever. But have a nice day, guys. And I love you. And I'll catch you in the next live video. Peace.